All right. So, are you still breathing? Is the first question for this evening. Are you still breathing? Because, my God, that was not easy at all. Actually, really, let me say this. Grambling was a team that should not have been on the field with us today, but pride comes into play. Home cooking comes into play. You got to remember that is still Eddie Robinson's house, so it's always hard to win in Grambling, Louisiana, the one stoplight town that it is. But at the end of the day, a win's a win. I'm worn out after just having watched that. My heart almost stopped a few times because, my God, I thought Hugh Jackson was going to have his team drive down and he was going to pull out one of those old plays. But then I realized, he used to coach the Browns. He's not used to being in that position a whole lot. But overall, the win's a win. We're going to talk about it. We're going to go through the numbers and everything. We're going to talk about all these penalties and stuff that need to get cleaned up and why this bye week came at such a critical time and why this year, more than any other year, would be a great time to not buy into any of the homecoming festivities. But yeah, so we're going to talk about all of that. I know some of y'all are thinking too, geez, this team drives me to drink. And understandably so, but that's because we care so much. I promise you, this isn't alcohol. This is only water. I'll do my drinking off camera. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and roll the intro first, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about all of it. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. All right. So, and in case you are watching CBS too, Alabama just scored and they're about to go up by one touchdown if they convert the extra point attempt. But so let's go ahead and talk about it. So 14 penalties for 172 yards. Grambling had 11 penalties for 91 yards. Look, that's not good enough, man. It's nowhere near good enough. The penalties on top of, the offensive line being patchwork because we're not healthy. We call a spade and tell the truth here. You lost two starting offensive linemen in the UNC game when you only had 7 guys eligible to put out there. So now you're down 2 starters on the offensive line. So now you're forcing TJ Demis and company to grow up before your eyes. So patchwork offensive line, a lot of undisciplined play. Combine the two, this is the results that you get. And also while we're also at it, be sure to leave a comment. Feel free to leave a comment. So yeah, FAMU wins 20-16. You get your 5th straight win of the season after an 0-2 start. You're still in position to get to a 9-2 record on the season. Still a lot. Well, hell, not even. I shouldn't even be nice when I say it. It's a crap ton to clean up and stuff like that. But you're still in position for a 9-2 season. As bad as this team looks, but man, and the one thing I will say is this is why I love this fan base so much. We look so bad. We look so bad playing. We're so inconsistent in so many aspects. Yet we still win and people are not satisfied. And that's what I like. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's what I like about the fan base side of it. It's because we're so passionate and we expect to win, but we expect to be consistent and do things right. And that's what I like, quite honestly. But also, too, if you look at it, Musa 22 of 36, one touchdown, 226 yards. I expected more for it to be opened up. Willie Simmons better go into the bye week and have this team coming out playing hard and finishing strong. These last 4 weeks, I'm not happy at all. It's ridiculous. Yeah, no, yeah, it is. It is. And honestly, you, me, and a lot of other people. And to be real with you, what I'll say is this. I think that because like someone said on Twitter, he is missing an OC. I think that because he's taken on the duties as QB coach and head coach, well, he does have an offensive play caller and Coach Joe Henry who comes over from Arkansas, but I think he does need to get a QB coach to kind of lighten the load on himself a little bit because that's what he had in Coach KJ Black, who's someone that I miss dearly right now because the result that we got today would not have happened with a guy like Coach Black on the sideline. Because I think when you have to wear multiple hats, this is the problem that you have. Hence, like most coaches in the NFL. But you're right. Something's got to give. Thankfully, you have a bye week. You have next week off. You got a bye week. You got time to recuperate. Look at the film. Look at 2 weeks worth of film and see what you're doing wrong, and get it corrected. Because something has to give with the undisciplined play of these penalties and stuff. And it's bang bang on the sideline. I know, but look, when the guy's on the sideline like that, if you must make contact with him, just push him. Lightly push him. I know that's hard to ask given the sport, but just lightly push him. Something. Don't grab him by the horse collar. Now, give or take, Julian Calvez was getting the ish beat out of him. And plus, he's only like 160 wearing boots and wet. But something's got to give there, man. You got to be more disciplined. Skylar Perry is coming to town as probably one of the top 5 passers in the SWAC. And take this bye week seriously because the last time they didn't. Yeah, no, you're right. They didn't. They sure didn't. There needs to be some emphasis on discipline this entire week while also getting ready for Arkansas Pine Bluff and then even into homecoming week. I understand all the homecoming festivities are going to start happening and stuff, and a lot of the freshmen are going to get wide-eyed and a lot of guys are going to get wide-eyed, but you can't get caught up in that, especially giving up 14 penalties for almost 200 yards. There's only one team that I can honestly, genuinely say could possibly even get away with that and still win convincingly, and that's Miami, and that's the Raiders. Back in the day, of course, not now. But, I mean, dude, something's got to give. And then rushing attack-wise, you had a total of 114 yards. Jalen McLeod was your lead rusher today, 12 carries, 57 yards. This rushing attack's got to get better. This team seems to relax too soon and plays individuals most of the time. Yes, they really do. And I think part of that is you had 2 alphas on that defense that left last season in Marquise Bell and Savion Williams. Isaiah Land's out with an injury. Who's in there really policing who? Keep being the glue to keep everything together. Who's in there being the police officer and not police officer, I shouldn't say that. Who's in there policing the locker room? Now, I don't want to say this locker room's a toxic environment or anything like that. I mean, after what we've seen on Why Not Us, I mean, I'm sure this is a very close-knit group, but there needs to be a greater emphasis on holding guys accountable. Because when you hold guys accountable and hold each other accountable, things like that don't happen. So something there needs to change. So you have that going on. And then the fact of the matter is you're still working with a patchwork offensive line. Again, 2 scenarios that when they come together, these are the results you get. Now, part of the fact is too, they realize they are one of the smarter teams. 9 times out of 10, the smarter team tends to win on Saturdays. That's not an indictment saying the Grambling guys are stupid, but I'm saying the smarter, more well-prepared team tends to win. Because at the end of the day, when they got caught in a bind, they go back to the fundamentals and realize, okay, what got us here? And they realize, okay, Grambling's not that good. Let's focus on just doing us, and we win. But this me over we thing needs to stop, because that's what that is. That's individualism. When you see guys committing so many penalties, now give or take two, the referees didn't do us any favors. They didn't. As well, too, feel free to leave your comments. Yeah, the referees didn't do us any favors, but give or take two, you got to remember whose house this is. This one felt like a loss. Coach Simmons to say no 24-hour rule. It did feel like a loss because, quite honestly, we didn't deserve to win. We did not deserve to win today. And me personally, I was thinking to myself, I'm thinking there towards the end, I'm thinking Lyndon Rash caught that until I saw that he pushed off. Because I was thinking, oh my gosh, we just lost. And quite honestly, fairly so, we did not deserve to win today. But yeah, there should be no 24-hour rule at all. I still would not feel good about how this game played out. Quite honestly, there's a lot that still needs to be corrected and fixed upon. But, and also too, in terms of, I know some people were saying earlier, the FCS playoffs and stuff, this isn't an FCS playoff team. I'm sorry. This is not a team that deserves to go to the FCS playoffs. A team that deserves to go to the FCS playoffs would have bounced back in a major, major way after the Jackson State game and went on a tear and been dominant throughout the process. This team hasn't. And the penalties and the inconsistencies on offense, sure enough, prove it. And this defense is good enough to compete in the SWAC, but if we step foot outside the SWAC, I don't like our chances. Right now, no. Nope. And we don't have we have one now, but we don't have an AD sitting in the chair right now that's going to fight for us and go to the NCAA and say, okay, this is why we deserve to get in. So, sorry. I'm quite honestly, I'm telling you. Oh, wait, hold on. I missed this comment. Do you think when there are too many transfers, guys don't play for each other? That's actually a really good question. Too many transfers, guys don't play for each other. Yeah, kind of. I want to say yes and no, because when you get into that locker room and that environment, then, guys start to come together. And then, of course, when you go through fall camp and stuff and you're going through all the hardships and the 100-degree weather and all that, you slowly come together and you build. But at the same time, too, when you're a transfer, you're coming in there with your own agenda. So you're going to come in there and you want to do your own thing. So I'm hoping it's the first thing that I said and not the second thing that I said, as far as guys coming in to play for, wanting to play for themselves. So I'm not sure. FAMU needs to get other guys going, because Isaiah Land and Xavier Smith are going to be going next year. And we don't know who's going to step up. We see it with Marquise Bell. So we need to get other guys to step up. I agree. And that's quite honestly why I've been constantly on here every Saturday, harping at the fact that, it's nice and all that we have a true wide receiver number one, and we have a wide receiver number two, which, by the way, Jamari Sheree led the club in receiving yards today with 8 receptions for under 6 yards. That's nice and all, to Ashton's point. But at the same time, too, again, to Ashton's point, we need someone that's going to step up as who's the wide receiver number 3. And like Isaiah Major and Kamar Stevens. Yeah, now those two guys are developing into playmakers that I feel very confident about for next year. But guys like Darian Oxendine and company, Kamari Burke, I'm hopeful that he can come in next year and make an impact. But I know he did not play today. He was out, I'm sure, with an injury. But offensively, as far as the weapons go, somebody has got other guys need to step up. Other guys have to step up and quick. I know there's other guys that are injured, such as the fact too, like Destin Coates, the Georgia State transfers out with he suffered an ACL injury in the spring. But yeah, other guys need to step up at this point. Hence why, like again, I've been saying, you need to find your wide receiver number 3. Who else is there that can step up that's coming in off the bench? That's like that true wide receiver number 4, 5, 6. Who is it? Because again, Xavier Smith ain't gonna be here next year. So someone else has to step up. Jamari Shareet ain't gonna be here next year. That's 2 guys with a lot of offensive firepower that are gonna be gone off to the NFL, the XFL, probably the Canadian League or the USFL. You got to find somebody else. So, ain't looking good. Now, one positive that you can point to is the fact that you outscored Grambling 17-6 in the second half. That's the one positive you can take away from it. And also, too, we got gifted a lot because honestly, too, here's the fact too where we could have also still lost this game. Grambling missed 2 3-point attempts plus an extra point try. All total, they left 7 points on the board. So if you really think about it, they should have won this game 23-20. They should have. We were just fortunate enough to catch breaks here and there and escape. Corners need to play turn and look for the ball. Yeah, they know they do. They do. And honestly, I don't know why we're so bent on just focusing on the guy, because when you play the guy when the ball's in the air and not the ball, and when you play the guy and the ball in the and not the ball in the air, that's when you have pass interference calls. And then even too on the punt return that Grambling got that put them back in the game. Here's my thing. When you practice punting and special teams period and stuff in practice, you're always taught to track the ball in the air, run to the ball, not the punt returner. Because sometimes what will happen is the punt returner will lie to you in order to get the ball to bounce into the end zone. Now, on this occasion, when Grambling ran it back, I didn't see anybody remotely even really close to the punt returner. We have to do a better job of tracking the ball in the air, because there's no reason why that should have happened. That falls on Coach Chili Davis. That falls on the special teams unit as a whole. Now, I will say that is the lone hiccup special teams had today as well. Jose Romo Martinez and Chris Fadul, they did their thing today. They are a huge reason why we did win this game, too. They were able to flip field position and give Grambling multiple times a long field to work with. But again, sometimes there's always that 1 or 2 plays that could turn a game on its head. Thankfully, they didn't get the second play that could have turned this game on its head. They only got 1. Also, second leading receiver today, Xavier Smith, 6 receptions, 61 yards. Yeah, he had a rough day at the office, so he'll bounce back for homecoming, I'm sure. Kamari Young, 3 receptions, 29 yards. He could have had a touchdown today, but he slipped walking into the end zone. Also, too, Xavier Smith could have had a touchdown too, but they called his back. So it's another touchdown that the referees took away from us. But give or take, there was an obvious holding call on that play. Man, there's a lot to clean up. Julian Calvez actually 16 carries today, 113 yards. He did his thing rushing. And I'll tell you what, for Grambling, moving forward, if I'm Hugh Jackson, I feel good about that kid moving forward. Because we may not win. They may not win another game this season, but they're going to be a problem next year. They will be. Hugh Jackson's slowly trying to build something up. Because if you notice, for Grambling, every week they get a little bit better and better and better. So it's coming. Well, somebody's going to be on the wrong end of these close games for Grambling. So to the Grambling folks, if they are watching this, stay locked in, stay invested, because it's gonna pay off one of these days. You never know. So Bayou Classic comes around, you may catch Southern lacking. You might. Who knows? But also to Julian Calvez, 14 of 36, passing 149 yards and one TD. He's a true freshman. He'll get better. He'll get much better. Now, as far as rushing yards for FAMU goes, 114 yards rushing to Grambling's 144. Got to be better. Got to be better. 5 of 13 on third down. That's less than 50%. That is not good. You didn't really go for it a lot on fourth down, but that's understandable. You didn't really need to in a lot of situations because most of the time you're playing field position. 20 first downs to Grambling's 22. Yeah, this was a tight one. It was tight. But third down efficiency, you got to be better. You want to be more so in the neighborhood of really 8 of 13 or better, quite honestly, because you constantly, again, short yardage situations, you want to constantly find yourself there and fall forward. And I know in some spurts we did do that today, but a lot of times that's what you got to give it. You got to give it to yourself. Hate when a Florida kid goes to other schools and plays well. Yeah, it's. I'm still questioning myself. Like, how did he manage to all this talent or all these schools here in Florida? How did he manage to get away from FAMU and everybody else? He must have been severely under recruited. He had to have been, or maybe he just wanted to just uproot and get out of Florida too, and start something of his own. But that kid should have been playing for us, quite honestly. Possibly. I don't know. I don't get it because that seems to be a trend, honestly, more often now than not. Because even Sammy Watkins did that. Sammy Watkins did it. Amari Cooper did it, and now you're seeing with this kid here, even he's done it. So, yeah, it's interesting. I hate when that happens too. It's annoying, but I hate for it to happen. I mean, heck, even happened with Tommy Frazier, but that's insane. What else we got here? So an interesting thing too, as far as the point spread goes, I guess if you did have money on this game today, you didn't really make anything according to Caesar's Sportsbook. 56 was the over under. FAMU was favored by 17 in this game. Well, at least we got the W. But all things considered, you're still in position to have a 9-2 season. You're still 5-2. You're 3 games above 500. Quite honestly, this is pretty darn impressive. You still find a way to win every week. You got the much needed bye week coming up now. Okay, we're going to go ahead and block that account. Yep, that's done. All right. So, yeah. Once again, you got the much needed bye week coming up. So, take the time. There's going to be a lot of reevaluating, I think, that needs to be done because now you're on the other side of this season where we're coming towards the end here. You're on the other side of the season now. You're in part 2. Got to reevaluate. Got to refocus. You need to take this bye week very seriously to get healthy, get guys back. I don't know. Someone said General Hunt was walking around with crutches after the game. I hope that wasn't the case. If it was, you need to take these 2 weeks to get him back healthy because you're going to need him for this home stretch. Hopefully Isaiah Land is able to return for homecoming. Oh, most definitely. Hope to see you too. Yeah, I will be at homecoming this year, of course. Well, as always, I will be at homecoming this year. So yeah, if you see me, I know one of y'all saw me. I don't know whoever watches this on YouTube. One of y'all saw me at the Mississippi Valley game and said, "What's up?" So yeah, if you see me, say what's up. We'll chop it up for sure. So yeah, I'll be there. I will definitely be there. Probably gonna get out of here Friday. Hopefully, I can get there about sometime around 4 o'clock, maybe 4 or 5 o'clock. But as far as the homecoming pregame analysis, I do need to say this now while people are watching. I'll be doing this on Thursday night because Friday's a heavy travel day for me. Because right after I get out of class, I'm gunning it. At least we don't have to play Grambling next year. I think they come off. Yeah, they do. The beautiful thing about this is it kind of plays out like the SEC schedule with the rotation. So what happens is, I believe now coming from the West, since Southern is the interlock opponent, I think coming from the West this coming year, I'm pretty sure. I think it's Prairie View and Alcorn. I'm not too sure if that is true, but it could also be. Well, you know what? Oh, we got a comment. Next year gonna be Willie's biggest test. SVMU head coach, in my opinion. Depending on the moves he makes in the offseason, I will. Right as of right now, I can see that happening, but it depends on the moves he makes in the offseason. Because quite honestly, I think at the top of his list right now, given all things considered, he needs to go find a QB coach that can help take the slack off it. Well, help take the weight off of him, not slack, but yeah, help take the weight off of him as far as working double duty as head coach and QB coach. I think hopefully he has someone in mind, or hopefully that he can find somebody. Because I'm gonna be quite honest with you and quite real with you, today was a day where we missed Coach Black heavily. I think a lot of these close games are games where we missed Coach Black, because I think his play calling and his ability to take the pressure off of Willie Simmons in these close games paid dividends last year, and we didn't appreciate it enough. Because Lord knows we could sure use him now and his expertise that he's gathered working under Sean McVay. So I do think that needs to be at the top of his list. If he can do that, the whole biggest test as FAMU's head coach next season thing, I think it gets a little bit easier. But at the same time, too, I'm hopeful that with this new AD coming in, he is given the proper resources to do what he needs to do in order to help this team be better prepared. Because, like I said, he needs an OC, or not an OC. He needs a QB coach. There are other elements and other special types of coaches, much like what you see with Florida's coaching staff and how in-depth it is, and like you see with Alabama's coaching staff and how in-depth it is. He needs elements around him to help this thing go. Because the more eyes you have, the better off you will be. And that's like what we've seen with Alabama for the last 20 years. And the way Nick Saban has structured his staff and how many coaches are on the sideline and in the press box. So if Willie Simmons is given that, I hope Willie's still here next year. Honestly, I will say this, and I hate to say it like this, but the beautiful thing about it is given the circumstances, a lot of these close finishes might be enough to just keep him around. I know a lot of other places would love to hire him, but I think given these close results and stuff, he is likely back next year. So that's the blessing and the curse of all of this is, we're winning close and we don't like that. But at the same time, too, that doesn't look sexy to the outside. So they're probably like, you know what? We might need to not go to that guy. Might need to go to this guy instead. He can stay where he's at. So I think Willie Simmons will likely be back next season, of course, because I think the only way he does leave is for a Group of 5 job. But I don't think any Group of 5 schools will come calling for him. Everybody's so worried about going out and going to get Dion and stuff. So we'll leave that be. But also, too, you keep pace in the SWAC East. You're still one of the second best team in the SWAC East and probably the second or third best team in the SWAC in total, because you're sitting pretty at 5-2. You're 3-1 in your conference. In the East, the next best team is Alabama A&M. So, yeah, despite all of this inconsistency and all of this, we are still probably the second best team in this conference, which is absolutely insane and tells you how we need to get better if we really want to compete for a Celebration Bowl. And again, to the person that asked earlier in the pregame, do you think it's possible we make the Celebration Bowl? After what I saw today, no. And we need Lady Luck on our side if that's even going to be a possibility because we still need Jackson State to lose 2 conference games. So I don't see that happening. I don't see it happening. I mean, maybe Alcorn gets lucky and steals one from them. Maybe Southern gets lucky and steals one from them. Then we're right back in the race. But for now, I don't see it. I don't see that or an FCS playoff game. So I think all hands on deck for the Florida Classic at the end. That's gonna be your Super Bowl, your national championship, whatever you want to call it. Oh, but yeah. So as far as who's next for FAMU, it's simple. The team that's next is Arkansas Pine Bluff, who sits there at 2-4. They're going to be coming into Tallahassee in 2 weeks for homecoming. Skylar Perry, I believe he's like one of the top 5 passers in the SWAC. I know Moose is the second best passer in the SWAC as far as total yards goes. But yeah, Skylar Perry, 65 of 126 passing, 688 yards, 4 TDs, 3 interceptions. I am not sure if they are playing today or not. I believe they had a bye week today. So, actually, did they have a bye week today? Did they? What's today? 15th. They play tomorrow. They play Alabama A&M tomorrow. I believe this was like one of the. I think this isn't this that bowl game that classic game that got canceled. Oh, it's at the Dome at America Center. So, this is the old Ram Stadium. Okay, that's where this game is being played at. Okay. Wow, they still have that building? All right. So, yeah. So, tomorrow will be a good opportunity to watch Skylar Perry and this Arkansas Pine Bluff team and see what they can do, get a good idea of it. Look, I think FAMU can still win can win homecoming, of course. There's going to be a lot of added emotions and stuff to once you play a clean game in front of your home crowd. What I've noticed, what we're noticing now is since the Mississippi Valley game and getting to now, they tend to play a little bit cleaner at home. And I think that's true because a lot of teams know when they come to brag, they don't really want to try FAMU. It got moved to campus. It's not being played in St. Louis. Oh, okay. I got you. I heard something about that because people were complaining about the inconsistency of the sponsor for that game not doing their job. So I did hear something about it, but I wasn't too sure about if it got moved to campus and stuff. Plus, I'm not gonna. I thought they tore down the old St. Louis Rams stadium too. But wow, okay, so yeah, that'd be a good game to watch tomorrow. Amidst flipping back and forth between your favorite team's game and flipping back and forth between Red Zone. So keep an eye on it. So yeah. Skylar Perry and that offense, they're going to come in. I know they have one Arkansas transfer that plays defensive back for their squad, but that's going to be a team that you're going to want to watch. And then you're going to want to watch them again the week after. Oh, no, they have a bye week too. They're going to have a bye week too, so they're going to be coming in fresh off a bye week as well. So it'll be 2 teams fresh off of a bye week looking for another win. Well, FAMU will be looking for their 6th straight win. Arkansas Pine Bluff, we don't know what's going to happen with them, but they'll be looking for a win on the road. So, yeah. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So, all right, folks. That's going to do it for me. I hope you all have enjoyed this as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. Reminder, who did Cole kill? Why did Cole Kelly get cut? Are you referring to the Southeast Louisiana quarterback? I'm trying to remember. Is that his name? Because he was the Southeast Louisiana quarterback. Now, depending on what team did he go to, will tell you a lot of why he got cut. Washington Commanders. Okay, that makes sense. Why did he get cut? Sam Howell's there. And then also, too, Carson Wentz is there. Ron Rivera has more confidence in both of those guys. So that, quite honestly, I think that's a huge play at why Cole Kelly got cut. Okay, yeah, because he got cut mainly because they have Carson Wentz and they got Sam Howell, and I don't see Carson Wentz really being there next year after the way Ron Rivera basically threw him under the bus. And I don't possibly, if anything goes haywire, I don't see Ron Rivera being there next year either. But yeah, that's why. Now, hopefully, he can land somewhere else. I mean, again, if we've seen his work in the FCS, I think that he's a quality quarterback that can land somewhere and be a quality backup, or even really be a quality practice squad guy. So, yeah, I think he'll get a call eventually. He'll possibly be around next year in preseason for sure. Not sure where, but he's earned and garnered the attention. He's one of the most prolific he was one of the most prolific passers last season in the FCS. What's your take on the March 100 article about the FAMU and on the FAMU? Quite honestly, dude, I saw that, and then you seeing multiple March 100 alumni give their takes on why that was not factual, and the fact that they were able to stay in a hotel and spend the night over and leave around 10 a.m. from UNC. Like, my thing is, see, here's my thing. If you're gonna write a story like that, tell the truth. And I think a lot of it is a lot of people, they gave Roland Martin what he wanted, which was clicks. And me personally, I'm not here to take a shot at Roland Martin, but the fact that he was wrong tells you a lot about why he doesn't work for CNN anymore. So, he's run off and he's got his own little thing now and stuff, where he wears his little dashiki and stuff and tries to, do it for the culture, I guess. But I mean, look, I trust the opinion of the people that are actually in the band and the alumni that keep up with the band. And I mean, while give or take, yes, they do need to be treated better because their name speaks for itself. People like Roland Martin don't need to be going around saying things that aren't true. So my take, because see, honestly, my thing is this: if something like that had really been for real, like how it's being portrayed as, other media outlets would have been saying something. It would have been on multiple outlets, like how the ineligible players was. So when I say this, I say it like this: like HBCU game day would have been talking about it. And then, if it was really, really serious, E60 probably would have done a story about it and said something. It would have been on the bottom line on ESPN. CBS News would have been talking about it. All these other outlets would have been talking about it. But the fact is, it was only Roland Martin, the guy that used to work for CNN. Not anymore. So he's looking for clicks. Hate to say it like that, hate to put the guy down, but he's just looking for clicks at that point. So, I mean, like I said, take things like that with a grain of salt. I want to see them at away games. No excuse to be in the SWAC when your only road game is not a classic. Yeah, I agree with you. I wouldn't have been opposed to them making the trip today. I don't know why you're going to a Falcons game on Sunday when, I mean, give or take, it's good you're going to the Falcons game. Here's my own personal spiel about it. Nobody really watches the Falcons because the Falcons are not a good football team. So, I mean, I guess this was a way for Arthur Blank to sell tickets and get people in seats and stuff. But quite honestly, if I'm being real, I think more people would have went to that game today if the 100 had traveled. More people would have been Grambling today, quite honestly. I don't think they're going to Montgomery because the Florida Classic is the next week, and you have to put together 2 performances because thankfully you don't have to put together 3 because you're not doing pregame this year because Bethune's the home team this year. But you got to put together 2 performances for the Battle of the Bands, and then you got to put together a performance for the actual game. So yeah, I don't think that they'll be in Montgomery. You have 2 more home games after that or before that with Homecoming and Southern. So I mean, I don't see him traveling for that last one. But again, I thought they could have traveled today. I felt that, last year they could have went to Alabama A&M too, but hey. Hold up. Keep up the good work. Appreciate it. Yeah, me, Ace, Chad, Mr. Sasser, Flash, we do what we can. No, they gotta go. They gotta go tomorrow. We're gonna be deep there. Hey, I hope they do go. I mean, if they go, I mean that's gonna be a quick turnaround to get two performances ready. I'm like I said, I hope they go. I'm not expecting that they'll go though, but we'll see. I know family's gonna be deep in Montgomery though, because that's a trip that I've been thinking about making every now, like here in a couple of years too. Like when they end up having to travel back in 2024. So I would hope that they would go. Hopefully in the future, if that game is not the week before the classic, I think they go because they got to return the favor. Alabama State came to Tallahassee last year. You got to return the favor. Speaking of ineligible players, is everyone back that was projected to be a starter contributor at the beginning of the season? Jordan Moore did not play today. So that's one guy that I don't expect to play. Let me not say that. That's one guy that I'm hoping is back after the bye week. If not, you may have to slap a red shirt on him and just bring him back next year. And again, it goes back to what Allison was telling us at the beginning or Wednesday night. A lot of guys find out that they're ineligible at the last second, and that's why they have the AD they have to deal with the compliance issues. Because what happened with Jordan Moore and Isaiah Land and BJ Bowler should never have happened. And you never know. If Jordan Moore is starting at safety today, the outcome probably isn't the outcome that we have today. Because he probably already at this point has established himself as an enforcer in that secondary. I'll be there. That's a day trip driving from Atlanta. Atlanta Rattlers will be and that's good to hear. That's good to hear because we were very. I mean, I understand too. It's a one stoplight town, but we were not represented that well in Grambling today. The few that did show up, I salute you guys for making that trip. But I'm expecting a bigger turnout in Montgomery because I know that Atlanta fan base, they show up. And quite honestly, I think that that's going to be another sold out occasion when y'all show up to Montgomery here towards the end of November or early to mid November. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, honestly, guys like Jordan Moore, I hope he can come back. Again, you got 2 weeks to get him back at this point to work him back into the fold if he is eligible to go. It would be nice for him to come back on homecoming, and then you need an extra body back there in the secondary to help out. Because quite honestly, Javon Morgan, he was very quiet today, but having a guy like Jordan Moore next to Javon Morgan, who I think does need to play corner in this defensive scheme, would be heavily appreciated. So yeah, hopefully so. And also, too, I know we have a wide receiver transfer that came from Virginia State, but he has not played yet either. I'm not sure if he's another one of those ineligible guys, but hopefully they get some guys back coming into homecoming. But yeah, folks, that's going to do it for me this evening. I hope that you've enjoyed this as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. As always, tune into the Last Give podcast on Tuesday nights. Tune into the Run and Gun podcast on Wednesday night. We're going to have FAMU Central Pod. I'm not sure his actual name, but we're going to have him on Wednesday night. We welcomed him on the show, so we look forward to having him. And Ace can't wait to talk about this game and give his opinion, of course. But yes, as always, and then of course, the FAMU versus Arkansas Pine Bluff breakdown in 2 weeks will be on a Thursday night because I'm traveling on Friday as soon as I get out of class to Tallahassee. So there will not be a breakdown the day of the game. There will not be a breakdown on Friday night of homecoming. And there probably won't be a recap for homecoming either. So enjoy your homecoming. But as always, stay safe, stay blessed. We'll see you on Tuesday night. We hope you've enjoyed. As always, follow us on all of our social media platforms. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, enjoy your Sundays.